All right, guys. Well, welcome. My name is Kerry Sheppard, and I'm a business strategist for women entrepreneurs. And I am passionate about helping women build a profitable online business that fuels their life. And today I want to share with you my story. And the part of the story that I really want to share with you is obviously how I got to where I am today in my business. So I'm going to take you back just a little short ways ago when I was in college. I actually went to college here in Austin, Texas at St. Edward's University. It's absolutely a gorgeous campus and I loved college. I went to college thinking I was going to be a psychologist. I wanted to do children's psychology and I was really, really passionate about it. For a while I thought I wanted to be a teacher. But that was what I went to school for. So, or I should say I started school with. But I realized quickly my freshman year in college that psychology was not for me. I loved it, but I didn't love the classes and I was really struggling. But I knew that I loved business and being a psychologist to me meant being an entrepreneur. So ultimately that's what I wanted to be. And so I quickly switched to a business degree. And throughout college, I had several different internships. I worked for an event management company. I worked for a marketing company and, was really able to see different sides of business, be able to work for other people, see how different people manage. And my junior year in college, my dad, kind of backing up, my dad is an entrepreneur and he owned his own business. And so my junior year in college, I went to him and asked if I could work with him over the summer. And it was a great experience. We were in the telecom industry at the time and we were doing pagers. For those of you that remember pagers way back when. It was a great experience. And so I was able to actually transfer that job to college because we had the territory in the greater Austin area. So loved doing that, loved college. And when I graduated, I made the decision to move back to Houston and work for our family's business because, again, I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I knew that I would get the best experience and education by working with my dad. And ultimately, I actually worked for other people because when I first started out, of course, I started at the bottom. Started out in sales, and I shouldn't say at the bottom because sales is definitely not the bottom, but I got a really great training from this man named Ray. He was a Jamaican. He was really tough on me, and he really schooled me. And I feel like that's where I've gotten a really strong foundation of sales was based on that training. And so realistically, we worked very hard. I did a lot of business to business sales. So we were kind of the middleman for our industry and it was all men. So I worked with all men, all my clients were men, and it really gave me a lot of strength. It gave me a lot of power because I really had to stand in my power, not only because I was working for, my dad, it was my, family company, but also because I was surrounded by men. And I think that really kind of, threw me into the deep end of business and I grew up really quickly. And then, throughout the years, I was then a partner and I opened up several businesses with my father, several retail businesses. And finally, at the end, we had 12 retail stores in the Houston area that we were running. So kind of fast forwarding here for you. It was great. We had the 12 stores. I managed around 75 employees. I was in charge of our sales and marketing department. I was the vice president and really in charge of the profit. I was in charge of training our employees. I was in charge of the stores. And I was also responsible for the relationship that we had with the carrier. So we had cell phone stores in the Houston area. And it was a lot of pressure and it was a lot of work. If you know anything about owning a business, it's not just the fun parts that you get to do, but I was also responsible for the hiring. I was responsible for the firing. I was responsible for putting in the operations manual, making sure people were following, the law and the rules that we had in place. And the not so fun parts, I got calls on the weekends. I got calls at 2:00 in the morning when a store would get broken into and I had to go up to the store and file the police report and then sit at the store until the glass company came and replaced the glass. Those were all the not fun parts. And, I didn't really have a lot of freedom. I really had to be in the Houston area. And yes, I could travel, but I really couldn't take my business with me, right? So, but on the other hand, I was always on call. I was attached to my phone. All the employees had my cell phone number. All the store managers called me. And around 2010, I really started to feel this itch. And I realized that it was going to be time to move on here pretty soon. I wanted more freedom. I really wanted to make a bigger impact, and I wanted to help women. So that's kind of where the search began. And I was introduced to a network marketing company, which I kind of thought was going to be it. I was super excited about it. I had a lot of success really quickly, and I started making moves to do this full time. So I knew that I wanted to really have my network marketing company fueled online. Again, I wanted to set it up with freedom. I didn't want to be tied to doing, home parties or live events or anything like that. So I joined an online business training program with Marie Forleo. If you know who she is, she runs B School, and it was incredible. I didn't really know anything about online business. I was definitely schooled in the offline business, but really bringing it online, I didn't know. So I started building a website and an opt-in, and I knew about a list, and I was doing all these things. And then I kind of hit that next level, and I realized I really need some one-on-one support. And that's when I was introduced into coaching. So I hired my very first business coach, Ashley, and she was amazing. She really helped me put those pieces together and build the foundation. But what happened was, in that relationship, in that coaching relationship, I realized that I loved what she was doing for me. I loved that she was there to stand by me with whatever business I wanted to open. It didn't matter if it was a specific network marketing business or a coaching business, or at one point in time, I thought I was going to do photography, so it was like she was willing to help me in whatever business. And she really helped me get the clarity and put the systems and structures in place. And so this was kind of a light bulb moment for me. And I realized, what I really want to do is help other women build a business, no matter what it is. And so that's really where I got the vision of becoming a coach. So the next year, in the beginning of the fall of 2013, I was introduced to another mentor. I was introduced to Gina DeVee, and I signed up for her business and coaching certification program. And I thought, I'll just do this on the side while we have our business. I'll kind of slowly start my coaching business, right? I'm going to just kind of like get certified and, learn these next pieces that I need to put in place. That was my plan. However, God had a whole different plan for me that I didn't know about. And in November of 2013, we got an offer on our 12 stores that we absolutely could not resist. And we were able to sell our stores in 10 days. Now, this is completely unheard of. If you know anything about selling a business, 10 days is not a normal time frame. But the deal is it was right before Black Friday. And if you know anything about Black Friday, it's the biggest day in retail. And the gentleman that bought our stores wanted the stores for Black Friday. So we did that, and they were looking for somebody, a position to fill in their company, and thought that I might be a good fit and asked me if I wanted to interview for it. Now, this was kind of a hard decision for me because I had this coaching business that I had kind of started, but again, I thought I was going to have more time. And then I had this opportunity potentially to work for this other company. And so I really had kind of a moment that I had to make a decision. And I remember sitting in the parking lot going in to interview with them, and my neck turned bright red and my stomach, just felt sick, and my palms started sweating. I don't know if you've ever felt that way about, when you're about to make a big decision. And I knew that was God telling me that it was time. It was time to make the leap, and it was time to go out on my own 100%. And so I didn't take the job. I didn't end up going work for that company. And in January of 2014, I launched my coaching business. Not only did I launch my coaching business, I also started that coaching and certification program. So I had the community, I had the coach, and I had the foundation to really help me build that business. But it didn't come, everything wasn't rainbows and butterflies. Kind of behind the scenes, I was struggling in my marriage. My now ex-husband is an alcoholic, and, there was a lot of pain and a lot of struggle that was happening behind the scenes. And I knew in order to move forward, I was going to have to let some things go. And not only for financial reasons, but also just for responsibility and, in order to make that next step. So I also, in January of 2014, put my home that I'd owned for 14 years on the market. And I did that because I wanted to have the financial resources to travel and to invest in my business and have that freedom that I had so desperately wanted for all those years. And so I felt free. January of 2014, I felt free. I felt supported, and I felt like I had that roadmap to really have success. And to be honest, I thought that I would hit the ground running. I thought that I would, throw up my website. I would say I was in business and I would be making, multiple 5 figures. But that didn't happen. It didn't happen right out of the gate. It took me a little time to transition. It took me time to build my community. It took time for me to get my footing and to really figure out what it is that I wanted to coach on. And it didn't take long, but after several months, I started booking clients. I started really, getting momentum, and I came out into the industry as a sales coach because, of course, that was my background. That was what I felt really confident about helping women with. And through that, I learned, and through that experience, and through, kind of getting in action. Like I always say, clarity comes from action. So I had to put myself out there. I had to, throw up my shingles and say, hey, I'm Kerry. I'm a sales coach. This is what I can help you with. And through that process and through really having a strong mentor, having not only Gina in the group coaching aspect, but I also continue to have a private coach. I was able to start booking clients. And I remember when I launched my private intensives and I sold 11 of them in 1 month. I feel like that was the moment that I really made the shift and things really started moving for me. And what I really realized is I remember it was in Sydney, Australia, and I was sitting in a hot seat with Gina, and I was just, something was missing. I was feeling off. And although I was having some success and I was helping clients, I just felt like something wasn't clicking. I wasn't on target to make 6 figures. I wasn't fully booked out. And it was then that she really reflected to me by asking me really powerful questions that not only did I love sales, but I loved all aspects of the business. And so I was really able to step into being a business coach, being a business mentor, and helping my clients get from A to Z with everything, building the foundation, creating their marketing plan, creating their sales funnels, building the confidence, building their mindset. And it was then that things, if you will, kind of exploded for me. I came back from that trip. I totally rebranded. I got a new website, built a different package. And that's where I really felt like I finally got the ball rolling. And so I'd like to tell you, and the reason I wanted to share this story with you today is because I think it's so important to know the journey. So often we are comparing ourselves to someone else's middle or end when we're just starting. And rather than doing that, I think it's important to know that as we go through our business, as we have the ups and downs and ebbs and flows, it's going to continue to look differently. And even now, now since launching my business 2.5 years ago, it looks different today. I just did a photo shoot last week. I'm getting ready to do an upgrade on my website. I'm continuing to ebb and flow with not only my growth, but also learning what my, dream clients, what the women that I'm here to serve need and want. And I think it's really important to continue to reinvent yourself. And it's fun. I really enjoy the process. And so, I think it's important also to share your story. Let people know where you've come from. Let them know what your journey looks like, because that's where people are going to connect. And I don't know what part of my story that connected with you. Maybe it was, making that decision and really deciding to take the leap and to start your business. Maybe it was, working in a family business and being a business owner and having to deal with every area of the business. Or maybe it was me sharing that in my previous marriage, I was married to an alcoholic. Maybe that resonates with you and you understand the struggles about that. That's a whole nother video that I could make specifically about that experience and what I learned about myself and, how that's affected me in a positive way. So whatever part of my story resonates with you, I just want to let you know that there's a whole story behind what you see today in, anybody that you may be following or looking up to or working with. And, it's really about continuing the journey for you, creating your story every step of the way and learning and ebbing and flowing and just getting better every single day. And so that's why I wanted to share my story with you today. I hope that you found it helpful. If you have, I would love it if you shared it, and feel free to email me and let me know. I'd love to know what part of it resonated with you. You can drop me an email at Kerry@kerrysheppard.com. So I hope you've enjoyed this today.